You know, it's Bill Swift with the Lenawee County Democratic Party.
Yes, sir.
I'm calling because of, I just keep calling to let folks know about things and discuss issues of the day. I wanted to cover, Tim Walberg, our congressman, has picked up one of the things that we had posted on our Facebook page. We took it down because we got some concerned comments from folks that said, the folks that are commenting on your page there might do violence to people in our community. So we removed the post. But we, at the party, and I as an individual, absolutely 100% support the statements that we made. And there were two of them. One had to do with the inaugural ceremony on Monday. And the second one was in relation to that, but further outlining a very rational argument. So on Monday, for those folks that haven't been paying attention, the inaugural ceremony featured the number one funder of campaign funds on the election for President Trump. Spent over $250 million. He's involved in the administration, and he was there at the inaugural, being a central figure in the inaugural, and that's Elon Musk. And Elon Musk at the inaugural performed two Hitler salutes, two Nazi salutes. This isn't out of context, taken out of context, still pictures, which seems to be what Republicans have wanted to respond with as some sort of comparison to other people who have, they've got these pictures that are capturing people at a split second. That's not what this is. This is a deliberate, very clear, unambiguous Nazi salute. As the German newspaper Der Zeit said, the Hitler salute is a Hitler salute. There isn't any construction under which the thing is not what it is. And so we pointed that out, and we pointed out that being the case, using, and this is just, the evidence that is available, right? That which has been happening. Donald Trump ran on Nazi rhetoric and Nazi ideas. He kept, quote, accidentally, end quote, posting propaganda and rhetoric on his social media accounts that were things like unified Reich. He kept saying things at his rally openly, things like immigrants are poisoning the blood of our people. These are statements of a Nazi. At conservative Republican rallies and organizations like CPAC, Nazi iconography, Nazi imagery, Nazi language has been front and center. What has not been front and center, of course, is the word Nazi. So what has happened with this Elon Musk fellow, who for the last 2 years has transformed his social media empire into a right-wing Nazi echo chamber, where these kinds of ideas are promulgated and amplified, and he is posting these things. With this open and out gesture, it's a what we would call a transformative moment in American history. Because what we had on Monday was a Nazi rally for our presidential inaugural because of this. Now, there are a lot of people out there that are going to say that this is a fantasy, this is not true, possibly care less. I spent the last 4 years trying to wake people up to their constitutional and duties and their duties as a citizen, to inform themselves and to make decisions that are not contrary to the Constitution and not contrary to my rights and attacking of my rights as a citizen. I'm not going to stand for that. And so we made this statement, and I'm going to go ahead and read a portion of it. Okay? Mm-hmm. I typically don't do this reading stuff, but I want to say it. Okay? The necessary and moral preconditions for the extra-constitutional removal of the President of the United States and any elected officials at any level of government who professes support for or provides material support for this man or his administration have been met. As well, this holds true for the 6 Supreme Court justices who ruled that presidents are above the law. We are no longer a constitutional republic. We are a fascist, Nazi, billionaire oligarchy. And the reason that I'm making these statements out there is it's the last chance for people that have decided that they are going to embrace or apologize for or ignore this, what's happening, this Nazi takeover of our country. To be frank, the thing that makes it morally sufficient is not the Nazism. That's just a terrible add-on to it. President Donald Trump committed insurrection and tried to overthrow the government of the United States. And the duly elected, constitutionally mandated authorities refused to do their duty to protect the country from the domestic enemy and domestic terrorists that Donald Trump is. And that's immaterial. It doesn't matter to me anymore that those institutions have failed, because it's now incumbent upon us, the people, to decide what we're going to allow in our country. And I'm not going to allow a Nazi regime in the United States. That's just the way it's going to be. And so, real quick, President, just before the election, issued this cryptocurrency, received $40 billion from who knows where, from who knows what sources. This attempt to end birthright citizenship by executive order. This act alone would be sufficient morally to support his extra-constitutional removal. That's him saying, I am violating the Constitution of the United States here, right now. Bam, that's what I'm doing. This thing that he's done with the ending of the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission, this goes back to the LBJ executive order that was passed saying, hey, we got to have race, sex, nation of origin. These things can't be used to discriminate against people in federal contracting. He abrogated that and overturned that. That is an act of a Nazi. ICE raids planned for our schools and our churches. When I think about little kindergartners and fifth graders and middle schoolers in school and having jackbooted thugs raid the schools and drag these little kids out of the schools, I say to myself, oh, that's the act of a Nazi. Going into our churches and doing this to our parishioners. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment exists. I'm just going to reiterate that. The 13th Amendment also exists. These things can't be abrogated by fiat. We're not and have not been a fiat country. We've been a rule of law country. But unfortunately, these Republicans who have transformed the country into a Nazi regime have destroyed the rule of law completely and utterly.
And I'm going to have to...
Divided, Doug? Yep, just the last thing. Yeah. A house divided against itself will not stand. That's Abraham Lincoln. And he said, we will either be all one thing or we will be all the other. So people have got to decide what they're going to tolerate. Watch the Netflix movie number 24. That's the last thing I've got to say. Thank you so much.
Well, and I just want to say, though, while you're on the phone,
yes, sir.
Your opinions and your thoughts are always welcome on this show, as are other folks who may totally disagree with you. And the reason I say that, we had a message from a gentleman whom I respect very much yesterday saying, please do not support Bill Swift on your show. We're supporting everyone who has something they feel needs to be said. And you are always entitled to do that. If he or other people think you're incorrect, they're welcome to call and say how they feel about it. That's a hallmark of the freedom in this country.
And on this show.
And on this show.
Since you did bring it up, that was in relation to a statement that I had made about traitors trying to make Donald Trump a king. There are some folks that have been posting on our Facebook page saying that we need to acknowledge that Donald Trump is our king. And they have made statements that maybe they would make Donald Trump a king. Mm-hmm. And in response, I said, and I believe this to be 100%, I stand behind this statement, that that's treason. Anybody furthering an effort to make anybody a king and they should be arrested, and they should be facing the death penalty. They should be hanged by the neck until dead. I believe that this is one of the few areas of the law where I believe the death penalty should be imposed, and that's I stand behind that.
And you're totally legitimate to say what you think. Nobody should turn you into the sheriff's department or ban you or anything. You have a right to say that just as much, and just as much as someone that may totally disagree with you.
Well, opinions vary. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.